Bres has released a book and it's getting rave reviews. Everyone is talking about it. And tell me, what is the main reason you wanted to write this? Why did you really want to do it?
Well, I've been kind of a mental health campaigner for a couple of years. I've been speaking in colleges, schools, workplaces, you name it, I've kind of been there. I just think writing seems to be the most effective form of communication. I think it's, when you're talking about something like this, so many other, when you're talking in, say, a speech or whatever, so many other things come into the equation. You sometimes you lose your thought process, the environment, all sorts of things. So I thought writing it down might make it easier for people who are looking for, to read something that might not, just to make them feel like this is actually incredibly normal. It's one of the most normal illnesses in this country. Yeah. And as soon as we start looking at it that way and look at it the same way we look at like physical illness and things like that, it becomes easier. And the book was really to normalise the conversation, to make people go like, this is, and the thing about it is yes, it is difficult. I don't put bells and whistles in the book. Some of it's incredibly difficult to read, but it had to be that way. It couldn't be an Oprah Winfrey, everything's grand, if you look at the light at the end of the tunnel type of stuff, because that's not what it feels like. So you have to be honest about it, and I think that's what the book was. And I think it was also to try and educate people who mightn't understand it, who might have a loved one who's dealing with it and get maybe angry or frustrated that they're dealing with it and not being able to do anything. So it's more to kind of say, listen, this is how it affected me, but as I keep going back, it's my story, it's no one else's story, so I don't try to tell anyone else's story.
What do you think somebody would get out of this book? What are you hoping that they're going to get out of it when they read it, if they're in a situation where they've been through anxiety, they've been possibly through depression? What if they don't know they're going through it?
I think the thing about it is the book isn't just for people who deal with mental health illnesses. Without doubt, the book is to try and tell people that they should be investing in their minds. As a country, don't do it at all. Like, I could be in a room with 1,000 people and I'd ask who actively does anything for their minds. Maybe 5%. The fact is we spend more money on gym memberships, on going for a few drinks, on whatever, your car, than we do on our actual mind. And our minds are motherboards. So the idea of the book is also to tell people everybody's going to experience something in their life that's going to be difficult to deal with. If you don't know how to deal with it, you might have never experienced anxiety or really difficult low moods, but you could, God forbid, lose somebody you love or lose your job, and all of a sudden you're in this position where you don't know what to do, you don't know how to deal with it, and it's very hard to get out of it. So that's we got to look at ways of when those days do come, that you're able to cope and you've dealt with you've gone through things like various. But I think we have to kind of park the American, the TV shows like The Sopranos, some Tony Soprano sitting with Dr. Melfi, talking about. We have this kind of deluded vision of what therapy is. Therapy is very normal. Lots of people, everybody should do it. Everybody could benefit from it. But when someone dies in Ireland, what do? We go on the beer for 2 weeks, or we numb it, and we expect it to go away. You can't repress stuff like that. You need to learn how to deal with it effectively.
Okay. Lorraine, you there?
Hi.
How's it going? What's your question?
Good. Hi, Bressie.
Hi, Lorraine. How are you?
Congratulations on your book. I actually have a friend, and I'm just wondering, how do you know if you're actually depressed? Because my friend feels very down one day, up again the next, maybe down for a week, and it's just, I suppose, for us and our friends, we're just a little bit concerned.
That's kind of the most common question we get asked, is like friends or loved ones saying, what can we do? And with depression, in my case, and I keep saying this, it's all I can speak about. I didn't question mine. One of the most difficult things to talk about, and probably to hear, is that I didn't feel anything for anybody. I didn't know how to feel anything for myself or anybody else. I had no empathy. I had nothing. There was nothing inside. I was flat. And that was when I knew I had a problem. I knew when, if somebody told me a loved one passed away, I wouldn't have even felt anything. And that's really hard to hear, but that's probably the best way to describe it. I had no compassion for myself. And no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get it. And I think that was the first sign for me that there was something seriously wrong. And that was after years of dealing with severe anxiety. And I think my depression was born out of not being able to deal with my anxiety properly. But with a friend like that, one thing I would say is is to change your language with them. Don't constantly go, are you okay? What's wrong with you? Why can't you talk? Just like the difference between saying something like, if you want to talk, I'm here, or if you need anything, I'm here, rather than going, why won't you talk? That kind of badgering and nagging can be quite hard, because when they do decide that they want to talk, they know you're there. So I'll give you an example. In my case, my family, my mother,
Okay.
I could go home years when I wasn't really talking to her about it, and she could be going to me, why are you in your bed? What's wrong with you? Will you get out of bed? Everyone's downstairs. You know, everyone's thinking you're being ignorant. And I was sitting up in bed getting more and more guilty. And then when I started talking to her, she changed her language to go, listen, if I can bring you up anything, or I can, you know, if there's anything you need, just drop me a text or call down and we'll bring it up to you. The difference of that
versus
is
badgering.
massive comfort. And it's just to know that you're not making them, they understand, you don't feel guilty as much. So I think your language, and try and educate yourself as much as possible on what it is. And I think it's up to your friend themselves, and it always is, to get that help. You can't force somebody to get help. And I think in my case, it took something quite serious, like once again nearly losing another career, that made me go, right, that's enough, I need to do this. And it wasn't my mum or my family pushing me into it was me making that call.
Lorraine, mind your mate. Thanks for your call.
Thanks, Lorraine. Cheers.
Take it easy. Good luck. Loads more texts coming in. We'll have a chat in a moment. Me and my mate Jeffrey is Bressie's book. I want to ask you about who you're actually talking to in this. Is it important that you hit that kind of secondary school age group? Because that's when, I suppose, when you were at a much, much younger age, that's when things started happening for you. So is this targeted at that age, or is it everyone?
Everybody's affected by it. Every demographic, every gender, every age, every class, everything. It transcends everything, and that's the stereotype we have to get rid of, that it only applies to certain people.
Okay.
I think in my case as a teenager, I didn't have the full maturity to understand what it was, and there was other elements that teenagers might have to deal with that can be very difficult, like bullying, like online issues and stuff like that. So I think teenagers they're referred to in Ireland as generation anxiety. That's what we refer to them, and that's ridiculous. That's lazy. And if we're going to refer to them like that, we got to do something about it, and we got to show them that there is lots you can actually do. There is so much you can do, but the real sad thing is an awful lot of teenagers don't get that help.
I think this work that you're doing is going to make an incredible difference. It's already done so, and I know you for years. I see how passionate you are about it, so hats off to you first and foremost.
Cheers.
I know you put so much your efforts of your life and your own time into this, so I know it is kind of like a personal crusade to do amazing work, and you've done great stuff. And this book is just it's the kind of pinnacle of all that hard work, so well done to you.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for coming in. Keep on rocking. If people want more information, you also have a website.
I have a website called my1000hours.com, but I'm launching a new website in the next 6 to 8 weeks, and it's basically going to be an online resource for people to talk, people to tell their stories, but also people to look at the various things they can do. It's been driven by clinical psychologists and professionals. That's not me. It's called thelustforlife.com, and that'll be out in the next maybe 4 to 6 weeks. And we're also about to launch something really cool in Cork in the very near future, which I will be sure to let you know first.
Nightclub?
No, my nightclub days are done, I think, to be honest with you. I'm getting old, man.
Bressie, thanks for coming in.
Cheers, Casey.
Me and my mate Jeffrey, it's available as a digital download, or you can buy an old-fashioned book.
Buy the book. There's nothing better than having it in your hand.
It's the real deal. Thanks for coming in, my man. Cheers.
Cheers.